Now at 9, the city of Joplin's wrapping up its survey on homelessness in the community. Plus, the Missouri governor signs a bill banning texting while driving. And details of a lawsuit filed by the Kansas Attorney General over changing the gender listed on a driver's license.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. Time is running out for Joplin area residents, business owners, and anyone else to participate in the city's survey related to homelessness. The deadline to turn in that survey is July 14th. But right now, the city faces a big challenge. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
Matthew Koenig has been living in Joplin as a homeless person since 2009.
I started getting pain in my lower spinal area and my feet and my knees, and it was started because of getting older.
As he couldn't perform his tasks anymore, he lost his job. Now he lives in a shelter in the downtown area of Joplin. But not every homeless person in the area has the same opportunity. That happens because shelters between Newton and Jasper counties are at their full capacity. Also, there are no low-income houses available.
We have 75 people who've been approved for housing assistance. They either have rental assistance approved for them or a housing voucher. They're out looking that can't lease up anywhere. There isn't enough affordable housing for people. That is one huge barrier. I mean, there are a lot of families that are just a paycheck away from becoming homeless because of low income and high rents and everything, all basic costs are rising.
Originally from the Kansas City area, Jason has been living on the streets for 6 months.
If you're homeless and you're out on the streets, we're always getting arrested for trespassing. Which means we got to be on the corners even more.
The Homeless Coalition estimates that there are more than 250 homeless people living in the Jasper and in the Newton counties, with most of them being in Joplin.
It's a sad situation that's going on here in Joplin. But there are ways to fix this homeless problem.
Wanting to address the difficulties homeless people in the area are facing, the city of Joplin is encouraging people to participate in a survey related to homelessness.
So we'll take that information, interpret it, try to determine, what are the impediments for individuals experiencing homelessness? Why are they in that situation? What are the resources and the opportunities to get them out of that situation?
Matt himself has some suggestions.
A lot of research on YouTube. And there's a lot of videos talking about homeless shelters that you can build real cheaply.
He also plans on going back to school and learn more about computers to give himself a better life.
And once I do that, I can get a good job somewhere.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
In the past week, more than 850 responses to that survey were submitted. Again, the deadline is 1 week from today. You'll find a link to that online survey through our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, we'd like to get some rain in tonight. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, we definitely need the rain. We've had many batches of showers and thunderstorms all week, but they kind of fall apart as they work in. And again, tonight we're going to see a similar situation. 88 for a high, normal high is at 90 degrees. You can see some scattered thunderstorms starting to pop up, at least building a bit in our western counties, which is good. Most of us are dry, but we're going to continue to watch these guys as they continue to build over the next several hours and then start to push off toward the east. So at least we're going to get some scattered thunderstorms in here, which is something we need. It really does pick up on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side over the next several hours, but as it pushes east, it has a hard time holding together. So we're going to be talking more about this and what is to come down the road here in just a bit.
See you soon. Missouri Governor Mike Parson has signed a distracted driving bill into law. Reporter Liam Garrity has more on what the new law does and a reaction from a woman who had been pushing for this change.
And I'm so stoked. It's just like job well done to everyone who's used their stories to change history.
That's Stephanie Benning. Her last name is on the new bill. Her husband was killed in a texting and driving crash a little more than 2 years ago. He was in the road getting something that had fallen out of his boat when he got hit.
My daughter who was with my husband, called me and said, something's happened to Dad. Can you come? He's not coming back.
She says they have been pushing for this for 2 years.
When the Senate, Republican and Democrat both decided to join their bills together, I just remember I was actually on vacation and I just sat there and cried.
The bill allows you to use hands-free devices, but you cannot hold your phone to text, scroll, or anything. Nick Jabaria with AAA says the punishments can be serious.
If you cause a crash and it's determined that the driver was on their phone, that driver could face misdemeanor or felony charges.
Jabaria says Missouri is the 49th state to ban texting while driving for all ages, and the 28th state to pass a hands-free law.
Between 2012 and 2021, there's been nearly 200,000 crashes involving distracted driving. And in that same time period, 801 people killed due to distracted driving in Missouri.
Benning says she has words for people who think the fine is annoying.
$150 and not a loss of life is definitely well worth it. And we need to realize when we are driving, we're driving the most deadliest thing we can each day when we get behind the wheel.
Again, penalties won't be given until 2025. In the meantime, it's considered an education period to warn and inform drivers. And the law is for moving vehicles. If you're legally stopped, like at a stoplight, you won't get a ticket. And there are exceptions for EMS, law enforcement, rideshare drivers, and more. The Kansas Attorney General today sues to prevent transgender people from changing driver's licenses. The lawsuit aims to block transgender residents from changing their sex on their driver's license. It's also to rebuke Governor Laura Kelly for defying the AG's interpretation of the new law. Attorney General Chris Kobach contends a law that took effect Saturday prevents such changes and requires the state to reverse any previous changes in its records. More than 900 people have changed their listing for sex on their birth certificates in the past 4 years. About 400 have changed their driver's licenses in that same period. The Kansas audit questioned whether local election security policies are strong enough. The audit revealed the state also doesn't appear to be giving counties enough guidance on how best to oversee voting. The report examined election security procedures in 15 of the state's 105 counties and found that none of those counties had comprehensive security policies or guidance. The audit suggests money and personnel play a role. Arvest Bank in Joplin is helping kids one meal at a time. The Arvest Million Meals campaign helped raise more than 32,000 meals for Joplin Bright Futures. That beats last year's numbers. The bank today held a check presentation of $8,000 with Joplin school officials to cap off their feat. During the 8-week campaign, Arvest raised a total of nearly $460,000 to benefit 84 local organizations in the 4 states. The fundraising total equals almost 2.3 million meals.
We literally just asked every customer that came in. We told them the importance of the program, that the money stayed local to help kids in the Joplin community, and it was word of mouth. Every person who came in, we just asked them if they'd like to donate today.
The more than 2 million meals is their second largest total ever. This is Arvest's 13th annual Million Meals campaign. Now, orthodontist office is making an impact in the Joplin community. LaFurlow Wilson Ortho today kicked off their 2-month partnership with the Ronald McDonald Charities of the 4 states. For the program, they're lending their hands in volunteer work. It'll include projects such as filling comfort bags for future guests and organizing toys that have been donated to charity. An official with LaFurlow Wilson hopes this raises awareness of the needs of the Ronald McDonald House.
Today we are volunteering, learning a little bit more about what the Ronald McDonald House does in the community. We are getting ready to kick off a partnership with them where we will be teaming up with our patients and the community to bring in items that the Ronald McDonald House is in need to help support their families that come into their house.
The business also encourages its patients to donate to the Ronald McDonald House. Coming up, the intense heat causing problems.
It's a record-setting summer and the heat is on again today, adding to a week of weather woes. I'm Brandy Campbell reporting from Key Biscayne, Florida. I've got the details coming up.
Boy, another day of brutal heat for more than half our country, with many areas seeing record high temperatures, some states even dealing with triple digits. Fox News correspondent Brandy Campbell has details.
Oh, it's hot, but it's bearable. When I take the dog out like today, we walked tree to tree, shade to shade.
The summer scorch continues as millions of Americans across the country are sweating out a record-setting heat wave again today. Temperatures topped 90 degrees in more than 30 states Thursday. The heat index is pushing 110 degrees or higher in places like Texas and Nevada. The sizzling heat being felt all the way from the deserts of Arizona to the shores on the East Coast.
I think it's yucky. I'm glad I work inside.
Alongside the warm weather, some areas are seeing summer storms. The combination of heat and humidity is pushing the limits of what even longtime Floridians are able to endure. For much of the Sunshine State, feels like temperatures are close to 105 degrees, with occasional showers and thunderstorms providing a temporary cooling off.
When you got forces of nature fighting against you, ain't much you can get done. You got to respect nature.
The high temperatures are not just uncomfortable, they are also causing heat-related illnesses. Health officials are warning folks to limit time outdoors, drink plenty of water, and to watch out for any signs of heat exhaustion or possible dehydration.
Some of the signs and symptoms can include headache, muscle aches, muscle cramps, some nausea, and maybe even dizziness and lightheadedness.
Experts say it's not just the heat contributing to illnesses, but the air quality index is also reaching an unhealthy benchmark in some places. Reporting from Key Biscayne, Florida, I'm Brandy Campbell, Fox News.
Researchers in the UK are trying to determine how hot is too hot for humans. Looking at factors like the body's energy consumption as temperatures rise and how heart function is affected by the heat, they determined too hot is somewhere between 104 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's not clear whether humans can adapt further to the rising danger of extreme heat. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later a Pitt State track and field star is set to compete on the national stage this weekend. We're going to hear from his college coach in sports.
Well, we've had a lot of clouds throughout the daytime hours today, and some of us have picked up some scattered thunderstorms. Not a lot of us, but some of us have gotten some. Now we got partly cloudy skies, but we are tracking some additional thunderstorms which are building out to the west, which is definitely good news. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort looks pretty good. Temperatures right now, we're sitting into the mid to upper 70s across the board. We're looking at 7th and Rangeline. Nice shot of the sunset, 77. Dew point at 66, so it makes it feel a little bit on the sticky side. Northerly winds at about 5 to 10. And you can see a few thunderstorms building in our far western counties. Most of us are dry. Most of us have been dry over the past several hours, but we're going to watch these guys out to the west start to build over the next several hours. Eureka, Howard, down towards Sedan. Some moderate thunderstorms, one little guy trying to get going just north of Independence, and then back near Nowata and also Bartlesville. We're seeing a few scattered thunderstorms. The main batch is kind of out across western Oklahoma. This is going to slide pretty much to our south, but we're going to hope to get some of those guys up toward Wichita to kind of build in. But I do think the overall trend is they're going to kind of fall apart. You can see our big high pressure, and then these waves kind of rotate around it. That's why they drop to the southeast, is due to the upper level winds. All right, let's go through time for the overnight hours. Let's stop at midnight. Spotty showers and thunder showers, not widespread, spotty, pop up. As we continue through the night, a little bigger complex kind of pushes into Yates Center, Fredonia, Iola, Chanute, Independence. But watch what happens. So this is 3 a.m. As it continues east, just not much there. Not much rain for Pittsburgh or the Joplin Metro. A little bit heavier once you get down toward Grand Lake. But we will have spotty showers, spotty scattered thunderstorms as we go into the morning hours. And then that's pretty much it. A few isolated storms for us tomorrow afternoon. So we're not going to get a ton of rain out of this, but we will get some scattered showers, which is better than nothing. And then mostly cloudy skies, high temps into lower 80s. All right, tomorrow night, another batch drops mainly just south of the region. So our southern counties will get a few scattered thunderstorms. And then as we go into Sunday afternoon, we'll stop at about 5 p.m. Temperatures again mainly into the mid 80s for afternoon highs. All right, so rainfall, it's not going to be very widespread. If you get 1/10 of an inch, consider yourself one of the lucky ones, because a lot of us, we're not going to get much out of this. Breaking down the weekend for you, some morning scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. Again, tomorrow night, a few pop up in our southern counties. A lot of clouds, mid 80s for highs Saturday and also on Sunday. We do start to heat up as we go into next week. 93 on Monday. Some morning thunderstorms Tuesday. Keep our fingers crossed there. And look at the heat. 101 Thursday, 102 on Friday. So it gets pretty hot next week.
If we get 1/10 of an inch, consider
lucky.
ourselves one of the lucky ones.
Yeah. You can just turn on sprinklers.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Coming up, why cybersecurity experts say ransomware attacks on schools will get more common and how schools can fight back. U.S. employers added jobs last month, but growth missed expectations. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. added 209,000 jobs in June. That's lower than May's strong showing and about 16,000 less than economists were predicting. It's the lowest monthly gain since December of 2020. As for the unemployment rate, it dropped 0.1% to 3.6%. Online school databases are full of sensitive information about their students, but cybersecurity experts say the number of ransomware attacks against school districts is expected to increase. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten takes a look at the potential risks and how schools should fight back.
Parents beware, your child could be one of the more than 5 million students across the country affected by ransomware attacks, according to data from the cybersecurity firm Recorded Future.
It is serious. It's very serious.
Hackers are breaking into the databases of public school districts and stealing highly confidential information, including documents on student sexual assaults, suicide attempts, abuse of parents, and more. Then cybercriminals are threatening to release those materials online unless schools pay large sums of money.
Why is it necessary to store this data on computers accessible over the internet?
In March of this year, Minneapolis Public Schools refused to pay a $1 million ransom to hackers who responded by leaking more than 300,000 student and staff files. A similar incident also impacted the Los Angeles Unified Public School District last fall. And because federal law does not require schools to alert potential victims of cyber attacks, some families don't know their children's sensitive data was compromised until months after the incident, which could result in identity theft and damage to their mental health.
It shouldn't be up to individual parents to be spreading the word. It should be up to the district.
Cyber experts are calling for districts to spend more money updating their servers. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Up next, what scientists learned about how rattlesnakes react when they're with a partner in stressful situations. A new study has found that snakes have a maybe unexpected behavior similar to one found in humans. They comfort each other when stressed. Researchers with the journal Frontiers in Ethology studied rattlesnakes in stressful situations, and they found that those with companions had lower heart rates compared to those who were alone. This response, called social buffering, had never been recorded in reptiles prior to this. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. We're going to learn about an area faith-based program helping people battling substance abuse issues. Plus, artists from across Kansas come together in Pittsburgh for a networking event. As the U.S. battles the ongoing drug crisis, a lot of people can struggle with recovery. However, one organization in Joplin is making the process a bit easier. KOAM's Jasmine Knight has that story.
She started talking to us about a center right here in the heart of Joplin that would help those walking around with substance use disorder, something, a place, a safe haven for these folks to come and get help.
According to the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, drug usage is the #1 leading cause of death for ages 18 through 44 in Missouri. In 2021 alone, there were 1,581 deaths from opioid overdoses.
And let them know that they're safe, that there's people out there that care, and that it is possible to have recovery and be successful in the community.
This morning, they had an art class where they sketched buildings. However, they host a multitude of other things.
Well, the Rock offers during Recovery Month, there'll be a speaker event, and with not just a speaker, but there'll be food and fellowship. There's also, I think, like a Friday night game night where, people in recovery can just come and have a safe place to gather.
And for those who are unsure where to start on their road to recovery, Paula Donaldson has a tip for you.
Stop by and see what that looks like. We have meetings on several days of the week. Give us a call. Come and talk to Cherie. Come and talk to me, and I'll hopefully be able to help you start that. First step is always the hardest one. Asking for help is always the hardest.
So if you're looking for a safe haven to start your recovery journey, The Rock is the right place for you. Reporting in Joplin, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
The ROCC is open weekdays from 8:30 to 4:30. Southeast Kansas artists come together today to get to know one another and discuss their work. The Pittsburgh Arts Council and the Kansas Creative Arts Industries Commission hosted a regional meetup at Block 22 in Pittsburgh. Organizers say it's a chance for artists and art enthusiasts to connect and network.
So networking is really important. We're gathering today with other arts councils. We're going to spitball some ideas. We're going to brainstorm and try to come up with some creative ways to showcase artists and art organizations in the area.
Officials also discussed statewide initiatives and upcoming events, including the Kansas Arts Council Symposium, which will take place in October in Salina. They're going to be celebrating till the cows come home in Neosho, Missouri. The 56th annual Newton County Fair is underway at the fairgrounds, and among other things, features all kinds of livestock shows. A lot of young people get a chance to show their animals and maybe learn a thing or two in the process.
For the exhibitors, it's just it's a huge part of their life. It gives them a great amount of responsibility and learning to work together and trust their animals, and their animals trust them. So overall, in general, it's just a huge benefit for everyone involved.
And it's not just livestock shows. The fair also includes food vendors, commercial exhibits, and a carnival. It runs through tomorrow. Yeah, rev those engines. Folks at Grand Lake in Grove, Oklahoma are getting ready for a weekend full of drag boat racing. The Wolf Creek Nationals kick off tomorrow, but the party got started today. The Kentucky Drag Boat Association is hosting the races and also hosted a food truck Friday for people with live music and plenty of good eats. People were also able to meet this weekend's pilots and pit crews.
Man, really a dream come true. I mean, all this stuff is a perfect storm. So the food trucks, we always try to add something, but when these guys are in town and it hits on a food truck Friday, these events are huge. They're huge.
If you'd like to check out the races this weekend, you should know they run from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. A bit later, the future becoming reality.
From nursing homes to concert halls, robots are popping up everywhere you look. I'm Lauren Blanchard with more on how advanced technology is advancing a variety of industries coming up.
Well, of course, a lot of clouds outside for us today, but a few scattered showers and a few scattered thunderstorms, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the night. You can see them picking up a little bit in our western counties. So we're looking Greenwood County, Elk, Chautauqua counties, and then kind of getting out toward Woodson and Wilson counties. Everybody else is pretty much dry. We had a few thunderstorms in our eastern counties in southwestern Missouri, and then we're just watching these guys and see exactly what they're going to do, how much they can build over the next few hours. So just west of Yates Center, here's Fredonia and Neodesha, Howard up toward Eureka, and then down into Chautauqua County, so just to the west of Independence, Kansas. We can go a little farther south, one little cell near Bartlesville just to the south of Nowata. Everybody else pretty quiet right now, but we're watching this big cluster. Unfortunately, the bulk of this is going to push Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fort Smith. So we have to rely on whatever is developing west of Wichita. I just think it's going to kind of fall apart as it pushes in. So here's what's going on. Big upper level high. Look at the upper level winds. See how they turn to the southeast? So that's where the storms like to go. And that has been kind of an issue for us all week long. All right, let's go through time. Here's midnight still. Kind of spotty showers across the region, picking up a little bit by about 3 o'clock in the morning. Bands of scattered showers and thunderstorms. However, as we continue into the daylight hours and they try to get into Missouri, they kind of fall apart. So I really think Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Joplin, Neosho, we just aren't going to see much rain out of this. Scattered showers to start the day, and then most of the rest of the day is fairly dry. We'll have a lot of clouds through the morning hours, very similar to what we saw today. A little bit of sunshine in the afternoon and a slight chance for an isolated thunderstorm to pop up. Tomorrow night we get thunderstorms again, same spot, out to our south and to our west, clipping our southern counties, pretty much gone by the time we head into Sunday morning, then Sunday afternoon, mid-80s again, partly sunny skies. So not a whole lot of hope to get much rain out of this as we go through the overnight hours tonight. If you get about 1/10 of an inch, you're definitely one of the luckier ones. Few scattered thunderstorms to start the day tomorrow, 85 on Sunday. Overall, temperatures at least good because we start to heat back up. As we go into Monday, look at this, mid-90s. We could get a little complex that drops in Tuesday morning. We'll keep our fingers crossed into Tuesday afternoon, and then we heat up again. As we go into Wednesday, we're in the upper 90s to near 100, and then we get into triple digits by next Thursday and Friday. So it gets hotter once again. Mid-80s over the weekend, praying for thunderstorms. 93 on Monday. Chance for thunderstorms Tuesday. Wednesday hot, and then hit and miss storms again late next week and next week. And you can pretty much tell this drought issue is going to be an issue through the entire summer.
Yeah, even this forecast for rain is not talking about a lot for a lot of people, so it's just enough to kind of tease us a little bit. Yeah. Thanks, Todd. Coming up in sports, we're going to reveal who's going to represent the Joplin Outlaws and the Nevada Griffins in this year's Mink League All-Star Game. Plus, Pitt State Gorilla is ready to compete in the USA Track and Field Championships this weekend. Brock Baldridge is going to provide all the details for us. That's next in sports.
The 2023 Mink League All-Star Game kicks off this Sunday in Chillicothe. The Outlaws will have 9 players representing Joplin. Meanwhile, the Griffins will have 5 players representing Nevada. So here we go, representing the Joplin Outlaws in the 2023 Mink League All-Star Game. Starting off with the infield, Landon Meyer and Jarrett Nelson. And we head to the outfield now. It'll be Garrett Chun and Colton Reynolds. Then the pitchers representing the Joplin Outlaws, Caden Bressler, Chris Massey, Logan Rains, Will Isla, and Luke Schmedding. Now we take a look at the Nevada Griffins representing the Mink League South All-Star team. Starting off with the infielders, J.C. Berry, London Penland, and Graydon Miller for the infield. Then we head to the pitching side of things. It's Joey Funk and Gage Hayes. Once again, your 2023 Mink League All-Star players from Nevada. They will head to Chillicothe for the All-Star Game this Sunday. The Joplin Outlaws are on a 6-game winning streak that snapped last night. However, Joplin still remains in first place in the Mink League South. Joplin taking on the Chillicothe Mudcats tonight on their annual road trip to Chillicothe. They're in for a doubleheader. In Game 1, the Mudcats get the best of the Outlaws, defeating Joplin 10-8. However, William Kelly goes 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs. Then in Game 2 of the doubleheader, not much changed. The Outlaws get swept by the Mudcats, this time losing 4-0. Even though Joplin loses this one, they've lost their last 3 straight. They finished the first half of the season 11-7, or I should say with an 11-7 record in their last 18 games before the All-Star break. This weekend, the Pittsburgh Gorilla, Cordell Tinch, will be competing in the USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships in Eugene, Oregon. Tinch is set to be competing this Saturday in 2 events, the men's long jump as well as the 110-meter hurdles, which Tinch is already the Division II national champion in the 110-meter hurdles. He has led Pitt State in both the indoor and outdoor track national field titles. Now Tinch is set to represent his country in one of track and field's biggest stages.
I mean, USA right now is #1 in the 110 hurdles. I mean, we have 3 of the top 4 in the world right now. And so you know that competition is going to be high. You know the competition is going to be at a premium level. And so he has to know how to handle that. And it's a good situation for him to be in. And he embraces that. He understands it. He's excited for that challenge. And it's just a new level for him. But he's ready for it. He's doing well.
We shift gears back to baseball now. The St. Louis Cardinals are in the Windy City tonight. Instead of facing their typical Northsider foes, they take a trip to the South Side, taking on the Chicago White Sox. This game has gone back and forth all night long. The Cards were up 5-0, then down 6-5, then they're up again. Now they're down again. And currently, St. Louis is down 8-7 in the 8th inning in Chicago. Over to the American League side now. The Royals are in Cleveland tonight, taking on the Guardians. Kansas City gets shut out 3-0. Barely any offense from the Royals tonight. Just 2 hits, except Bobby Witt Jr. is 1 for 4 with a double. Kansas City has now lost 5 straight. And if you want to watch Cordell Tinch this weekend, he's set to start his 110-meter hurdles tomorrow at 7:37 p.m. approximately Central Local Time.
Boy, we wish him well. We'll be right back. From healthcare to entertainment and beyond, robots are becoming a greater part of our everyday lives as these pieces of technology continue advancing a variety of industries all around the world. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard takes a look at some unique bots with some pretty amazing skills.
It's nice to meet you.
We often hear stories about a future where robots and people will live side by side. But look no further, because the future is here. With a variety of robots already advancing industries like healthcare, music, and more.
I have a human-like physical appearance, but I am not a human.
Take Nadine, for example. Powered by artificial intelligence, Nadine is what's called a social robot. Back in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, Nadine kept residents at a nursing home in Singapore company.
My role was to interact with elderly on their demands and play a bingo with them. It was a great experience.
And with nursing and caregiver fields seeing staffing shortages after the pandemic, engineers hope more robots like Nadine can fill in the gaps, especially because they can run 24 hours a day, unlike people. But robots are also infiltrating the entertainment world. This android recently served as the conductor for South Korea's national orchestra. Armed with a baton, the bot seamlessly moved its arms to cue musicians when to play. And while there were a few hiccups during the performance, the orchestra's principal conductor was pleased with the robot's progress. Many engineers say these advancements are not meant to replace people's jobs with robots. Instead, it's about seeing how society can evolve as the two work together. Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, we're going to learn how a group of students in Arizona came together to support their favorite teacher. A group of high school students in Arizona went above and beyond for a beloved teacher who needed help. Fox's Anita Roman has more details on what they did.
We moved into our tiny home, and right as I started moving things, I started having chest pains in November
of 2022.
Yeah. And you know, it takes some time to kind of get with all your doctors and try and figure things out.
In March of this year, doctors told Angel Guy she needed open heart surgery. Her husband Clay, who teaches government at Arcadia High School, never left his wife's side.
After she got March 27th, we had to wait until May 11th for the surgery, and it was like waiting for a heart attack, waiting for something to go on. So we were waiting, and the kids would ask, and teachers would ask. The school was very supportive. The students were amazing.
So amazing, says Guy, that they created a GoFundMe.
Overall, Mr. Guy, he's always in a great mood. He brings just a great vibe to the class, and he's always energetic. And before we found out about his wife's surgery, probably a week prior, we could all tell that his mood was a little bit lower and down, and we knew something was off.
Parker Bond was a senior at the time and says he and classmates could tell their favorite teacher was stressed. They wanted to take some of the worry away and help with medical expenses.
I think the reason he means so much to all of his classes is because he's able to connect with everyone. It doesn't matter what they like, it doesn't matter who they are. He can talk about anything with anyone for a long time.
You just don't imagine that somebody's going to come back and do that for you as well.
Angel says the help the students offered provided financial assistance because even with insurance, open heart surgery is costly. But it also showed the guys how kind people can be, and that helped with the recovery process.
I've heard it takes 6 months to fully recover. Last Thursday was the first week, or the first time I could drive, because you can't drive.
But she gets chest pains, and she gets them like she's not sure if it's her sternum in the chest area or is it actually her heart, but she still gets them and she keeps track and she has her heart rate going up higher. So it's something that we're just monitoring.
Getting by with a little help from their friends. That is our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of an okapi calf at the Chester Zoo in England. Let's make it a great weekend.